Hello, everyone. Welcome to our class. And I'm very happy to see you today because it's been a while. I know it's been a while na you might think na, ma'am, lagi na lang po kayong wala. I'm sorry, I'm on official business, and I know na baka sabihin nyo, ma'am, Dayan, you're doing this, and bumabagyo, and so on and so on. I know you have that kind of question, and it's normal naman that you'll be having that kind of question. Kaya lang kasi, as of now, Kaya lang kasi as of now, our problem is I'm always on official business and mayroon tayong demonstration teaching ng mga third year, ay ng mga fourth year. So yun, so third year, don't worry, FS2, kayo naman ang ide-deploy ng inyong mga city at sila naman din ang maa-absent dun sa mga ano nila. So bawi-bawi lang din. But hindi natin pwede, um, we cannot, although the thing is, we don't have online classes talaga and it is discouraged and I know you don't want it to kasi. Kaya lang, sabi ko nga kanina, the difference between our online in pre-recorded tasks this is just a disclaimer lang din na pag OB kasi although you are paid hourly rate, dagdag kasi yon. Kumbaga parang, although teaching ka dapat, but since the university or the dean's office asks you to do this activity, you don't have a choice. Kaya kailangan din namin kasi part din ng trabaho namin as regular faculty. So, nagpupunta siya doon. And makeup classes are used naman for kunyari nag-seminar kami, kagaya ng ginawa ko nung nakaraan, nag-seminar. So, nagkaroon tayo ng additional classes na fit dun sa schedule nyo. So, there's a big difference. Kaya sa akin, this is, kumbaga, ayoko lang, the reason why I'm doing this. In addition, for example, meron kayong mga teachers din na naka-official business na tinatawag ng university, umattend ng meeting, and ito yung usual, pwede siyang gawin. Pero this one is a discretion of the teacher kasi pwede namang hindi. But for me kasi, I think that since we are board, for board exam tayo, you need to know this one and there should be no pressure at all sa inyo na maramdaman na minamadali. But since I don't know, I'm recording this at 8:49 a.m. And actually, this is my third time recording kasi I don't like the things that I have recorded in the past. Sabi ko parang it's not interactive enough and baka mamaya masabi niyo na wala namang difference, no? So I change it and also the things that I'll be presenting to you, although I've already printed, I have already posted the raw thing, I have included additional information which I won't be sharing sa inyo. It's up to you. You need to watch this video and kahit yung mga science and math majors na umattend ng meeting, meron po akong dinagdag dito kasi saka sabihin nyo na nonsense. But of course, the difference is you have a recitation and you have the face-to-face activity to sort things out. Now, I have given you tasks. This task is different because we'll be checking this one and I'll be asking the class mayor to check this one at a certain point. For instance, next week, so hindi ko sure kasi pero next week I'll be asking the class mayor to send me the copy. Siguro hindi pala next week, but maybe at the end of this week like Friday, you need to make sure na mayroon kayo na na-check ninyo yung mga sagot ng classmates ninyo. So kasi I think this week is bombarded ako ng different I am bombarded with different demonstration teaching and iniisip ko kung saan ko siya ilalagay dahil sorry for this baka kasi sabihin nyo wala akong ginagawa, but for the past week we have a research that was tasked for Meneses Campus. Kaya magkakasama kami ni Dean. So if ever friend nyo si Dean sa Facebook, we're doing some field work. Nagpunta kami sa iba't ibang place. We've been interviewing. So that is OB as well. Next, and we asked our head na, actually not Dean, but yung office ng faculty development. And they said, this is official business. So you need a travel order will be given to you. And puwede kayong hindi magklase. So, yun ang statement sa amin. So, because we're finalizing our research. And for this week naman, wala sanang problema. I have already told the math and science that we'll be having a class, and maybe we'll be having a class supposedly today din as well. Kaya lang dun sa mga other parts, I'll be updating you why, because the problem with that is may demo ko ng isa na sa San Rafael, Bulacan. So, since siya lang yata for the 21st, wala, makakabalik ako agad. Medyo malilate, kaya lang hindi ko masagot. Meron ako na magpapandi ako ng umaga, tapos gitna ko is kalumpit, tapos ang dulo ko 4 o'clock PM is sa Looc Second. So sa isang araw, tatlong school siya. So meron tayo na from madami siyang meron din akong Bambang na sa loob ng isang araw madami siya. So that's the reason why I think there I would have problem when it comes to the date. But I'll be updating you since we don't have classes today. I don't know if we will have class. The cooperating school will have classes ng second day. So I hope you understand why we have this kind of session. All right. So without further ado, I'll be sharing now my screen, Windows, and the teaching profession. Ayan. So as you can see, this is a new thing compared to the ones that I've been posting before. Now it's different, and the content also is different from what I've been posting. But let us now deal with on becoming a Glocal teacher. When we discuss Glocal teacher, I've already asked you what is the difference between global and Glocal. And during that definition, we could say, the first thing that we need to check, what is global teacher? When we say global teacher, you possess the standards of globally accredited standards. And now, the local standards, so you will be called local, is that you were able to merge the global standards into your local communities. This is the difference between a global and a local teacher. So yung dalawang yun yung pinagkaiba. Our world has been called global village. Satellite communication make possible television, telephone, and documents transmitted through fax and electronic mail across 1,000 of miles in thousands of a second. Before, when I was younger, I know that snail mail is actually one of the most is the usual part. And that's the reason why we have the snail mail activity. As of now, some of you've said, Ma'am, the train of thought nung sa kausap ko until now, I still don't know I still don't have any answer. And some of you said, Ma'am, I cannot find my letter in the box that you have sent. Diba? That is the feeling before. Sometimes the letters will come from months and months and months, then it will be lost, and then it will be retrieved, and it will be, it's not an instant task. That's why it's so nice to finally find your letter and to finally respond it. 'Di ba? Parang some of you said, "Ma'am, I cried because I saw the letter and I was touched." It's really a different activity, and that's what we felt. But it's not so effective because instead of for example, if you will be using this in an activity in an educational purposes, you will think it takes so long. The constant email, it takes so long, and you want to know the detail, especially if we are planning for collaboration. For example, last year we have Dr. Marita and I, we went to as well as Dr. Evangeline Das. We went to Netherlands. We are in constant communication with some of the professors there, and they are planning to have partnership with us as well. So just imagine, it will be easier. The only problem that we have is they are asleep when we are awake. So that's the only problem that we have. But the communication is constant. The train of thought is there. That's the difference between now and before. television right now, not all of us have television, but we have Netflix. You know, back then, we don't have Netflix that is very cheap. We have cable. And cable, my mom actually don't want us to have cable. Kasi wala namang nanonood dito, di ba? O, di ba? Parang ganun. It is actually true. So we'll be watching VCDs, DVD players back then. I'll be buying pirated. Sorry, no? But I'll be buying pirated movies to 100 in one and halos 'di ba, scam court and so on. Before sobrang taas talaga 'yan. Ngayon kasi it's kind of different because we are now releasing this in Netflix and sometimes there are still pirata, no? Meron mga nagiging ganyan. And sometimes in TikTok. So we have that. And telephone, we could Skype. Even now, we can record this one. One of the things that the pandemic helped us, may positive naman siya, is that because of pandemic, we now have the idea, oh, it's okay to not to be okay. No. It's okay not to have classes face to face, that we will still learn. I'm not saying it's still as effective as what we have, but it's okay. We could still use this. The class will still be a class. No problem. So as you can see, we've learned from many things. So our students can view global warfare in the Middle East, famine in Africa, industrial pollution in Europe, or industrial breakthroughs in Korea or Japan through a world wide web of the information highway. So as you can see right now, we've been searching for when your teacher wants you to have, okay, I want you to search for the problems in Middle East and the problems in Africa, you will now see, okay, not all posted. Diba? Not all posted on social media, not all posted on, it's always Africa is so poor, not all of it. I was actually watching some TikTok videos of some Africans who are answering questions na, oh, how do you drink? Of course we drink water. They will tell that. And Middle East, you can say, not all Middle East people are very angry all the time. Okay? So they are also fun and loving people who have lots of money. So I think their lifestyle is so crazy. Just imagine a gold Lamborghini, a gold house, and whatsoever. But we could also see that, oh, it's not always angry and bombing, no, because maybe it's what they portrayed, no, before. And we also saw that although Europe is one of the most beautiful country that we all love, we want to go to Paris and we would like someone to propose at near the Eiffel Tower because it's one of the most romantic place on earth. Then you will see that Europe actually is very polluted place. You will see even Filipinos, they said, sobrang hype ni Europe. But actually, ang panghe, napakadaming magnanakaw. This is what I am hearing right now. And when I went to Netherlands, I was actually told that, all right, if you will go to Paris, make sure that your we were told that if you will go to Paris, make sure that your belongings are with you. Be careful in the alleyway. All right, so some of it, and we also saw we keep on saying Japan is living in the 2050. Okay, so now you can see that online. So it will be easier for us to see what is happening in the world on time, real time. I remember before, I've been seeing videos on television about the different toys that they have, and it's I was actually wondering, oh, I wish I do have that kind of toy. And then it will hit me. We will saw that after a month or two or almost half a year in Toy Kingdom, and it's very pricey. Sobra. And before it hits the what you call this at palengke, the palengke we have, I forgot what they call it, the change. Before it hits the change, it is long gone. sobrang tagal na bago siya siyempre that is what we could afford sa Tiangge in usual Filipino. But right now, it's also there, it's also here as well because of globalization. And in education, it's still the same. So uh, sometimes, especially in private schools, some of the standards there is also applied here. So yun ang kagandahan. Because global education seeks to equip individuals with the knowledge and skills and attitude necessary to thrive in an interconnected world. So anong goals niya? The goals of global education is broadening understanding of global cultures and fostering tolerance for diversity. Right now, as a future teacher, especially if you will be going to different country, you'll be teaching there, you will see the diverse learners they have. And we need to be very careful about how we can be inclusive and not exclusive education. Kailangan we know how to handle this new things, this culture, because as a teacher, we cannot insist what we know. Hindi pwede that, oh, this is what I know. In Philippines, this is what we do. Okay, we cannot say that. And in Philippines, we also have different culture. And for example, we keep because of hospitality. Minsan, because of too much hospitality, we keep on saying na you can you adjust, diba? You adjust here. But actually, it's the teacher. We need to pave way and help the students to adjust in our classrooms. So that's important. And addressing global challenges such as environmental issues or conflict resolutions before the research activities that will be discussed by your research teacher back then ha, during our time. So, hindi naman siya sobrang layo. 2015. Okay. So, 2015. Oh, 9 years lang naman. 9 years lang. Okay, so back then, 2015, whenever we have researches, our teacher would always say, oh, you are not allowed to use World Wide Web. I was thinking, what? But the problem is, we need to search in the library. Which is, you will think, oh, okay to. We will research in library. But the problem with that is in Library of Bulacan State University main campus is limited. Limited lang siya. Although we have lots for educational, but still they haven't transferred it. Hindi pa nila nakakatalog during that time. So if your problem is not so big, for example, hindi masyadong malaki yung problema mo, like hindi siya if your problem pala is a new problem na hindi pa siya, I'm not saying very 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 new, but it's a new problem that is not yet known in Bulso, it will be a problem to you because I remember my classmate before, he keeps on all of the research that was placed in the library, he actually picked everything, even as in lahat, no stones are unturned. And there's no related studies. And if we would like to have related, we could go to Science Direct. And it's only few. Grabe, sobrang hirap talaga. And if you will go to the National Library, like most students do, the thing is, it's 1995 and 2015, 1995, it's not accepted. But right now, it's different because your teachers will ask you, oh, it should be part of the SDG. Kailangan meron tayong masasagip dyan. And research natin must be part of this category, which is globally accepted. So that's the difference right now. And as a teacher, some of the lessons are not just for Philippines only, but it's localized because it's both global issues plus local issues. So combination siya. It's not just for Philippines only. Now, enhancing fluency in foreign languages to improve communication. This is what I keep on telling my English major students because you are very lucky. Actually, you're very lucky. Why? Because you have Mandarin. Although you won't be as it is, of course, parang since it is a class and it is required to, usually talaga, you won't appreciate Mandarin classes. There's a big difference if you will study Mandarin classes because you want to be proficient and just you'll study Mandarin classes because it is required to. There's no need kasi sa inyo eh. Kumbaga, there's no urgency. Kaya kahit na, if for example, your teacher is giving you this, you just study for the mere reason, mere fact that you just want to study. But if you will use it, for example, you will go to China and it is required to have Mandarin, so you will really, really study hard. This, or you love, for example, you like Korean things, and you're very fond of this. So you study even if there's no graded recitation because you want to learn. And Japanese as well. Back then, more on Japanese kami because of the anime, manga, and so on and so on. So Korean and Japanese. So yun dalawang yun. Now, since we're in a global village, there's a global language that is acceptable most of the time, and that is English. Now, I know some of you will tell me, ano, I remember these comments, and not to me, but in Facebook. I usually see na, oh, so ibig sabihin sa Philippines pa din ang, ano, parang pagalingan pa rin ng grammar. Dito kasi sa amin sa ibang bansa, ganito na. And parang pamalian ng grammar. Talagang sa Pilipinas lang may ganyan na merong ano. Now, I know that some of you will tell me, Ma'am, why do we could still blah, 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 blah. Okay, hold that thought. Because you are a teacher. And although English it's not a competition and so on and so on. What I want you to do is to be comfortable with the language. Why? Because our target audience, again, once and for all, is not the mass. Your target audience includes the masses. Lahat ng tao. Your target audience as well is the academe. Your target audience is the CEO. Nandun ka sa level na yon na you need to know, you need to have the confidence to talk to these people. Hindi pwedeng sasabihin mo, oh, sa YouTube video, sabi nung tita ko na, ano, ganito lang sila, na the reason why you're learning the language is not just for that matter. Why you're learning the language is for yourself so that you'll be globally competitive even saan ka ilagay. Because although you will tell, number one is our plans, the reason why we're studying the language, your plans is not to sell things. Your plans is not to just be, to do the jobs that doesn't require these things. Your plans is to do anything, everything that you could do so that you'll be competitive. Yun. Kasi of course, we will teach you how, we will encourage you to know how to research. So kasama yon, we encourage you to converse in English confidently. Kasi you need to be globally competitive not just for yourself, but for your students as well. So don't forget those things. And please, whenever you see this one, do not put that in your coconut. Why? Kasi if you keep on saying, oh, I don't need to learn how to speak in English naman eh. I'm a Filipino major. Hep. It doesn't mean that you're Filipino major, you will just be speaking in Filipino. There are other things as well. For example, you want to go to um, a, a private school in which English speaking only. And for example, you'll be teaching in Filipino, but you're also teaching you can also speak in English in the usual way. So those things, do not limit yourself just because you saw a TikTok video, just because someone told you you don't need to speak in English. You just need to speak in Filipino. What I'm telling you is so that the maximum capacity, you need to speak English confidently. Confidently muna kung hindi ka pa fluent. And if you're already confident enough, you need to speak English fluently so that you could converse to anyone. Why? They will tell you. one of the things that I've heard, hindi nga sila marunong mag-Tagalog ay mag-English eh. And as an English speaker, as a English speaker, what you could do is lower the English level. Because you can, my dear, you cannot speak Tagalog to them. Di po ba? And they will tell you, pamalian tayo ng grammar. So, you need to speak English. And if, for example, you don't know how to speak English, kahit anong maling grammar, mali pa din siya. Isn't it? Because if you can speak in English and this you're talking to this person na mali yung grammar, at least this person could speak to you as well. What if you didn't learn the language? Ang tawag dito? Ang kalimutan, may tawag dito eh. So, if you're good in the language, okay, so this term, okay, so this person didn't understand this one. So, I need to think of something else that this person could understand. Okay. Okay, this one. Okay, hindi kita lesson. And then this one. Then, as you could understand, especially you're a teacher. And what if that is your student? Ano sasabihin mo? Tagalog ka na lang. Is that a good manner? Is that a good thing? Of course, it's not. You need to speak the language. BEd students, ayan. One of the things, BPED students, you cannot just say, oh, pasensya na, English wrong grammaring. Nakakahiya ka. Nakakasuka. Why? Because you are degrading yourself. The first thing that you need to do is to make yourself confident. Hindi pwede ikaw magbabagsak sa sarili mo. I don't want to hear that from you, my dear. Anyone, English, Filipino, Math, Science, BPED, BE. You six majors, even if you're not good in English, it's okay. Try to use it. No one is good in a language that they haven't tried before or they don't have any practice at all. And in addition to this, learning the language, you could also learn other language as well. But I'm not saying, my dear, that you forget about Filipino. Hindi pwede yon. You need to know your language in English. You also need to make sure that you still have your mother tongue. And you're very lucky if aside from Filipino, you also, Tagalog, you also know other things. You have other mother tongue. The more language you know, the better. All right? So don't forget that. Now, adapting to borderless education, which integrates new scientific and technological advancements to prepare students for the globalized future. This is the difference between you guys and other teachers. I asked you this before when you were in Edu 102, except for the BEd. Hindi ko sila students before, so I haven't asked them that. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's our first time. I don't know, where did you get your child and adolescent development? You're not my students, I think. My correct. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen you. So I don't know who's your child and adolescent development, but I'll be asking this for you. Back then, I asked you what kind of teacher you want to be, what kind of adult you want to be. And you said that you would like to learn from you will even if you're older, you will still learn. Okay. And as an adult and as a teacher, adapting to borderless education is very important. Why? Because things change. For instance, no one thought that we'll be shifting from online to face to face. Who thought about that? No one. And we don't like that before and said, no, we cannot shift to education for online. No one will learn from that. My God, didn't you know? We need to have face to face classes. Here we go. Now you're already third year. And for those who said that you cannot, I'm sorry. But now you are on your third year. And I think it's 2020, 2021, or I think the 2, 3, 4. So it's almost 3 years after the pandemic. And some of you told us na, I'm sorry, but we cannot have face-to-face classes right now because it's still scary. Here we go. We have a face-to-face classes right now. A combination of online and face-to-face modality. Another thing, 1.5 classes ng lecture. Ano pong mangyayari sa amin dyan? I'm sorry because we have many students who are under reconsideration and would like to be part of Meneses campus and now we don't have a room. Anong gusto natin? Sabi nga ng ating presidente last time, what do you want? You will not be accepted, or let's make things here. Let's accept you even if you didn't have the cut-off, reconsideration kayo, but tignan natin what can we do? Diba? Yan ang sabi eh. Kasi we keep on saying na ang init, ang hirap dito sa Meneses, nakakalungkot. But most of the students are under recon and you want to become part of Bulso. And this is where we are right now. You promise and you ask the people na you will do your best. And now we're doing our very best because you would like to be part of Meneses campus. Both for faculty members and students. We want to stay here because we don't have anywhere else to go. So we need to shut our mouths and we need to make sure that as a teacher, we are ready. Even if wherever we go, whatever you ask us to do, we could do it. So dapat ganun ang mentality natin. Kasi as teachers, kahit naman sa face-to-face and we go to public school, ganun din ang problem. We go to international school, still the same problem. Because not all of us are given the opportunity to be a part of this kind of community. Hindi lahat are given a chance to have this moment or have this opportunity to be a part of that. So we need to make sure that we're capable of that. And if you want to become part of a prestigious school and so on and so on and so on, that all of the things are provided and everything, and well, you need to make sure that you're qualified and capable of it. Hindi pwede na gusto mo lang, di ba? Siyempre, you need to be capable and qualified for it as well. Now, contemporary curricula reflect the realities of a global village, emphasizing the use of technology, understanding societal shifts, and accommodating the mobility of people across borders. These challenge educators, particularly prospective teachers, to prepare for diverse classroom demands. And some of you will say, Ma'am, akala po ng estudyante ko ang bastos talaga. Sobra. Ginanito ako. Ginanyan ako, no? Yeah. Keep on saying that. Mom, it's so hot. Mom, I cannot. There are many non-readers. There are many things. They're blah, blah. They're poor in math. They're blah, 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 blah. Right. You're correct. And I admire you because you're still staying. But as a teacher, you need to know how to handle diverse learners. And you will tell, Mom, you didn't taught us of how to become this. Well, we'll go back to you because although it was not told you, you were not trained, sabi ko nga, it's hard to simulate the activity. I remember one of the teachers in public school, she said, Ma'am Dayan, I think we have problem in BE Ed. Sabi ko, Ma'am, bakit po? What is the reason? Then she said, kasi parang hirap sila pong mag-handle ng mga bata. Sabi ko, Ma'am, mahirap po kasi i-simulate ang mga bata. Like for example, si BS Ed and BPED, kaya ng mga kaklase nila, they can easily pretend to become a students during demonstration teaching. Kayang-kaya po yan ng student. Pero si BEd po kasi, kahit sabihin po ng BEd na, okay, so you pretend to be grade 1 student. Diba? Parang ganun. Pero, alam naman yung mga kaklase, ha? Hindi naman siya. Di ba? Gaganon ka sa klase mo. Siyempre, magkakaasaran lang kayo. Di ba? Parang, okay, pretend that you are a grade 1. Di ba? Mga ganun. Hindi siya kaya talaga because you are not an elementary. You're not a grade 1 student. Kahit na you still pretend and act, the discipline is still there. For example, sa tingin mo ba kako para just imagine, so for BEd. So during your demonstration teaching with your classmates, some of the kids will, okay, you are in the thought na, okay, class, what is the color of this one? So your classmates will say, red, red, red. So they're imitating kids, the voice of the kids. But they cannot imitate that some will ask, I don't know, candy, or someone will stand up, and it's really hard. So you will really learn that first class. There's no simulation for BE as well. Walang ganon. Okay, so now, as a to become a global teacher, what must you do? First is acquire knowledge of international education system. So how will you do it? Well, number one is we have lectures and you do have some research for some of your subjects and you need to know as well, parang you need to have your own reading as well. It's not about the things that will be given to you sa college kasi, my dear students, the difference between a college and a tertiary education and secondary and primary tertiary education, it's not spoon feeding. Which means na teachers will tell you about this matter, but not everything about this matter will be told. Hindi siya ganun. It doesn't work that way. Hindi po siya ganun. Okay? So, acquire knowledge of international, so develop a global competencies and skills and embrace values that resonate multicultural settings. You need to be open. Okay, open-minded kayo sa lahat. So, now let us check this scenario. So, Miss Rivera, a future educator. Wait lang, sorry. Ah, what happened? Sorry. Okay. Yeah, ayaw mag-print screen. Okay, ayaw yung mag-screenshot. Bahala na. Okay, Miss Rivera, a future educator, is completing her teaching internship at an international school in the Philippines. Her class includes students from various cultural backgrounds such as Japan, India, Germany, and local Filipino community. So let's have this scenario. Ms. Rivera begins her lesson on environmental sustainability by integrating global and local perspectives. So for a global context, she introduces the lesson with a short video about how climate change affects the different regions worldwide, showing examples like melting glaciers at Arctic, floods in Bangladesh, and forest fires in California. The student discussed how these issues are interconnected and how global cooperation is needed to address them. So since she have Japanese, Indian, German, and Filipino, so they have four, she showed these different happenings. Oh, this happens in this country, in this country, in this country. Now, the students will be able to discuss what can we do as a different. Okay, so they have a collaboration. Now, for the local context, so since all of them are here in the Philippines, Ms. Rivera shifts the focus to the Philippines. She highlights local environmental challenges such as plastic pollution in coastal areas and typhoon intensified by climate change. Now, students will brainstorm solutions that blend global strategies with local actions, like organizing beach cleanups while advocating for international policies on reducing plastic production. As you can see, the thing is, it's not so hard. Giving these activities to students, para you will think, ay ma'am, ang hirap pala nun, globalize mo yun sa klase, it's so hard. But there are small ways in which you could introduce these things to your students. Hindi naman porket sobrang dapat bonggang-bongga na tayo na ganito. Of course not. But ignite interest to them, show them what is happening, and ask for a solution. And they could converse. Sometimes, some leaders, they will tell, why do you have this passion of helping the World Organization. And some of them will tell this story that, well, during our class with Ma'am blah blah blah, I have seen the videos and blah blah, and I was actually very happy with our activity. That's why I tried when I grow up and have the capacity, I try to do this. So sometimes it happens like that, di ba? Hindi natin napapansin, but some of our activities will help the future leaders with that. So now, Miss Rivera asked each student to share how their home countries address similar environmental issues. For example, a student from Japan explains the country's waste separation policies, and a German student discussed renewable energy practices. The Filipino students share the cultural importance of conserving mangroves. So now they have discussed the things that they have, not just locally, but internationally. And now they could think, pwede natin gawin based on these things. So, that's an example of cultural exchange. Ayun, yun na natin. Multi-collaboration to foster language skills naman, Ms. Rivera encouraged students to create posters in English and their native languages, promoting sustainability, demonstrating how effective communication crosses linguistic boundaries. So, isa yun. In critical thinking and tolerance during discussions, Ms. Rivera emphasizes respecting different perspectives. She challenges students to consider how cultural traditions influence environmental practices, fostering a deeper appreciation for diversity. So, isa yun sa nakita ni Ma'am for critical thinking and tolerance. And the outcome, after everything, by the end of the lesson, Ms. Rivera has helped her students, number one, understand the global challenges, but she still connected them to their local realities. Her approach prepares them to think globally but act locally, embodying the qualities of both global and global educator. So, these things are very important for us kasi we keep on thinking na everything is hard, what we were tasked to do is hard, but actually it's quite enjoying because you'll never know. Because of these activities, this act, now that the students are now aware about not just in the things that is happening around them, but the things that they don't know that's happening around the globe, isn't it? So that's an example of local and global teachers. Meeting these standards ensures readiness to educate effectively in a globalized and culturally diverse world. But why shift in the use of global to local as our chapter title? Kasi we could also say that the global and local education is quite a thing. You will see globalization is actually part of Roland Robertson. In his article, so siya yun, globalization, time, space, and homogeneity, heterogeneity. A sociologist, Roland Robertson, advocates for replacing them term globalization with localization. So bakit? This is to emphasize the interconnectedness of global and local. Robertson suggests the viewing the local as an integral aspect of globalization, which could involve either adapting a local perspective to fit global context or tailoring global ideas to align local conditions. Furthermore, he explains that globalization refers to the process where local culture interpret and assign meaning to global influences, highlighting the interdependence and mutual reinforcement between the two. Well, as future teachers, then it is essential to integrate both global and local perspective in your practice. As the saying goes, think globally and act globally. Or alternatively, think locally and act globally. Now, I have already this would be part of your activity. So later I will discuss this to you. But the first word that I'll be asking you to be a part is this one. I want you to remember this. Wait lang, kung makita. I want you to remember this one. Think locally, act globally. If I'll be asking you during our group quiz, what is the saying that Ma'am Dayan is asking? minutes. Again, think locally, act globally. So yan po yung isa sa part ng quiz ninyo that may or may not be related to the lesson. So think locally, act globally. So isa yan sa pwedeng part ng madaming questions because I won't be sending this to you. So make sure. Okay, now let's check your understanding. So I'll be giving you some time to do this since again, I won't be asking you to I won't be asking you, I won't be sending this to you. So you will do this one, but the instruction is at the end of your notebook. So dun sa quiz part, let's check your understanding. Write this, not answers only. Again, not answers only. Copy and answer. Number one, let's check your understanding. In directions, draw a star if the statement is correct. So you'll be drawing a star before each number. Yes. So I'll be giving you time. So baka ayaw nyo nang dinidiktahan, gusto nyo lang nasa cellphone. So 5 minutes for this one. Let's have, you may copy or screenshot this one. Pero I'll still give you time, 5 minutes. All right, so I think you've already screenshot this one. Again, this is copy and answer. So I think you could also use your notebook in the front so that you could also write down any notes that you have. Okay, so it's important for me that you'll be having your notes with you. So for the next part of our discussion, I have an announcement. So, what is my announcement? I remember last time I have sent you some names, random names, isn't it? Because that will be part of our quiz. I want you to be ready because we'll have a quiz on the fourth week of November. Since it's already ano bang panahon ngayon? Nahon. So, okay. Yes. On the fourth week of November, we'll be having a grand quiz. And you'll be needing those names for the last part of our activity. So, three-part siya na quiz. The first part of that quiz is actually more on a game show, but it is one versus one, which means that you will be given only one question and you need to answer this one. If you didn't answer this one, well, that's a problem. Second one is that will be 10 points. One question is 10 points. All right. So the next one is I don't know if you're familiar with um it's like a game show. It's a game show that is parang you'll be able to get, for example, 10 points. Um I'll be asking the question and you need to answer, is it A, B, C, or D? So magkakalaban kayo dyan. So magkakasama sa per session na yon is the English and Filipino. So medyo sila lang yung medyo madami because so mas fun yon. It will be fun because madami dahil yung science, math, and BPED BEd are usual companions talaga sila. Magkasama sila sa isang class. But for English and Filipino, it's a different one because you'll be with each other. So magtatama yung dalawang time. Maaga ko papapasukin si Filipino and maaga din papapasukin. Medyo mag-a-adjust ng konti si English. So that they'll be a little bit relaxed before anything else. So isa yon. Para din si Filipino maagang mauwi. And wala na tayo nun. I think your last day would be on the 29th. But we'll see. Let's check. It's either medyo malilate si English ng uwi ng konti kasi saglit lang yan. So, saglit lang, para saglit lang ang activities natin. So, next, after this one, the third part of our activity is a secret. That is where you'll be using your group names. There would be, I think, 3 groups for English and Filipino, 2 groups for math and science, and BPED BEd, I think, is 3 as well. So that's a secret. And what we need during that time is to be alert, and also you need to know how to memorize very, very fast. And some of the questions that I'll be highlighting right now will be part of the questions, the bonus questions that if you didn't watch this video, I'm very, very sorry because if you didn't watch the video, you will not be able to answer this one. Okay, so I've already highlighted one already. So let's go back and discuss again our discussion. Our lesson, sorry. So now, lesson 1 introduces the global and global education. So ulit-ulit na yan, ano? Kasi it emphasizes the role of teachers in preparing and we have already discussed it. So let's now push to the global and local teacher education. Global education has been best described by 2 definitions. So now, my question is, how does this definition, these 2 definitions different? I mean, it's actually the same, but these 2 individuals, the UNESCO discussed the definition of global education with this one. By the way, as part of the second, okay, this one I want you to remember the highlighted word. This also might be a part of this one. What is UNESCO? Okay? It's United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. So, kasama yan. Pag nabunot nyo yung question, siyempre, depende yan sa magbubura. So, how does UNESCO define global education? The UNESCO defines global education as a goal to develop countries worldwide and is aimed at educating all people under world standards. So regardless of anything, as long as you're under UNESCO, you will be educated. As in, kung ano yung education here sa Philippines, must be the same or they have a common ground with other countries as well. It means na walang mapaghuhulihan. Global education is an international curriculum that prepares today's youth around the world to function in a one world environment under teachers who are intellectually, professionally, and humanistically prepared. And that's what you need to do. Teachers must be, again, intellectual, professional, and humanistically prepared. And as a global education, you'll be needing this one. You'll be needing this. Hindi lang po yung pindiscuss natin about sa mga Magna Carta and ethical things, but you also need to be a part of this one. UNESCO's Education 2030 Incheon Declaration during the World Education Forum established a vision, towards inclusive and equitable quality educational lifelong learning for all. That is the SDG, or Sustainable Development Goal for Education. Towards inclusive and equitable quality educational lifelong learning for all. That is SDG for education. Is one of the 17 goals of the United Nations. 7 of the 10 targets are expected outcomes, while 3 are means of achieving the outcomes. These outcome targets and bring together all member nations to expand beyond their geographical territories for global education. Now, by 2030, the 7 outcome targets of SDG 4 must have been achieved. That's why for 4.1 universal primary and secondary education. This ensure that all girls and boys are complete, free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education leading to relevant and effective learning outcomes. Again, all girls and boys, complete, free, equitable, and quality primary secondary education learning. That's why in high school and in primary education, the government provides public schools because one of the parts of SDG, they must have quality education and free. Yes, may bayad po sa mga but it's so subsidized that even an ordinary people could easily enroll their kids because it is required, especially in other countries kapag hindi mo pinasok yung anak mo regardless of any reasons, makukulong ka. That's part of it. Next, early childhood development and universal pre-primary education, because you need to ensure that all boys and girls have access to quality early education, childhood development, care, and pre-primary education so that they are ready for primary education. Usually sa daycare, I was actually interviewing some of the students whose mothers are part of the daycare system, and they have said that in daycare they have constant seminars because everything is changing about the health and of course the student. So it's very important to have this universal pre-primary education, and it's very true. All right. So equal access to technical, vocational, and higher education, and um ensure equal access for all. That's why in TESDA, many enrolls in TESDA. I remember one of our neighbors here, her son is in TESDA, and it was said that aside from the education his son is having, they also have allowances. May allowance sila. So it's really good kasi the good thing about the allowances that they'll be having is uh they no, you cannot say wala naman akong kikitain din kasi some Filipinos, they will tell that na wala naman akong kikitain diyan, mas mabuti pa nung may pangkain. So the government gives them allowances for this one. Relevant skills for decent work substantially increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills, including technical and vocational skills. That's why in public school they have their TLE is very important for employment, decent jobs, and entrepreneurs. So TLE before, when I was younger, parang ano lang siya. It's not a major subject. Yeah, TLE, okay, magmananahe, okay, woodworking, okay, be electrocuted. Just kidding. It's not about electrocuting yourself, but it's more on switching. You'll be making extension cords and whatsoever. You'll be cooking. Actually, I'm part of food tech. Food tech kami sa Bulusu, and I could say that I learned to make achara. I've learned how to make what do you call this? Skinless longganisa, itlog na maalat, and a brownies. What else? Buko pie and cream puffs. Yeah, those things. I've learned these things. And some of my classmates who are in the garment section, they learn how to make curtains. They learn how to make clothes for a child and clothes for themselves as well. Electricity, I think they made, I don't know. I don't know what they made. I don't know. And automotive as well. I don't know as well. I didn't know if they learn how to change tires. I don't know. But they're part of automotive. Woodworking, I think one of their project is cabinet. Oh, and we also have cosmetology, but I will not say anything. But um, they've learned how to dye hair. They've learned the importance of having good nails on the how you push that. But I don't think they've learned how to remove what you call this, the dry skin. I didn't know. I think they didn't learn that from that book. But my god, the smell of the cosmetology room is really deadly because it smells like um cat poop and hair treatment. Ew. Okay. Sorry, I don't want to remember that. But the food department, well, it smells nice, but you see cockroaches everywhere. Okay, so one of the things I hate about food technology back in the day is that we'll be cleaning everything. Remember, I'm sorry for this one, but you know that there's a pot there. I've cleaned those pots, but the it was so used and so old that the the part in which we're putting the food, it was dissolved. So I told my teacher, Mom, can I put this in the trash? And he said, no, we cannot. We need to condemn that, or else it will be charged to me. Okay. Yes. I also ate a brownie there. The brownie that we've cooked, I tasted and tasted, and then they're laughing, and they said, why are you laughing? I told them, why are you laughing? They said, oh, it's because a rat um crossed it, and then they saw that eating. So I ate a brownie that was eaten by a mice. But well, it tastes good and I'm still alive. I think I don't have leprosy, leptospirosis, leprosy. Okay, so that's it. I'm also with Sir Lazar. So we're food technology. I don't know if he learned something. Did he learn something about? I think he learned something because he's actually a good cook. Well, I'm better than him. I believe because I have cooked. I won the contest. I lost because I am second place. We're only three. At least I'm not the last one. So, going back, gender equality and inclusion. Eliminate gender disparities in education and ensure equal access to all levels of education. 11. Education and vocational training for the vulnerable, including persons with disabilities, indigenous peoples, and children in vulnerable situations. Now, gender equality and inclusion is very important because right now we have lots of genders, and I quite understand, and I'm very fascinated with the different gender. As in, I was actually this is one of my best take with this one. It's maybe before we only have a male and female. All right, so back then we accept male and female. But the thing is, although they're male and female biologically, they think different. They have different ideas. And for them, the comforting things that they do might not be comforting with others. Some people, they will believe that they have mental health crisis. But actually, it's not about that because they're normal. But they just felt that since the brain is so complicated and you cannot trace everything, that's what they feel. And you know what? Actually, my best friend is. I know that he will not know that I told you this, and you don't know who my best friend is. You know, I have a best friend, and I asked him because he has a boyfriend. He has a boyfriend, and I asked him, "I what now? What? Because you don't have any experiences with same sex person, and I don't know anything about that." And I think he's your now what? I asked him. Not that I want him to be just a regular guy, but I asked him and he said, "You know what? I actually don't know right now. I think they're in a 1 year relationship already. A year of relationship already." And I felt so happy because imagine my best friend fell in love and my best friend and his boyfriend, they fell in love with each other because my best friend, that is his first boyfriend. He didn't get attracted to other genders before. He did attracted, but it's the first time that he courted someone without thinking, am I gay? Am I this? Am I this? There's no transition. And imagine falling in love with a person without looking at his gender. You just fall in love with the act of just falling in love. There's no buts. You just fell in love. Imagine. That's so beautiful. That's one of the beautiful. I'm very happy for them because imagine falling in love. Just falling in love. Because sometimes if you're a straight person and you're of course you want to be with another straight person, then you will say, "Ay, ang cute. Lalaki yan. Babae ako. Ay, lalaki din ako eh. You don't like that. I'm a straight." So there's this thing. You're straight. You're just here. So you will only look at the straight women. Since a straight guy, straight women. Just this one, just this one, just this one. You're like a horse. Cannot have this bisexual because you don't like that. You want straight. Just straight. Just straight. Just straight. Just straight. And then just straight. You're just looking for someone straight. You will only fall in love with this girl because this is a girl. Just straight. Just straight. Just straight. Just. But my best friend removed everything and he found this person. And he stayed with this person, fell in love with this person. Isn't it? That's really nice. And I know not all of you will believe me or will say, "Mom, Diane, what the hell? You're a teacher. Why?" So, it's up to you. I am not doing anything. I'm just happy with them. And I'm just happy. And I will be happy if you will find the person that you love. Well, maybe in a little bit future after you have accomplished the things that you want to do for yourself. Now, going back. In the gender inclusivity, it's actually if you are a a student centered teacher, gender equality and inclusion is not a problem because you allow your students to feel what they want to feel. You allow the students to do what they want to do. You're just giving them it's like your God. Sorry for that if you're a little bit it's not blasphemous. Okay, so let's think about mythologically. Imagine your Zeus. and just sharing. You're not allowed to, do that. Okay, you're just for the reference that you're the God, not the big G, but the small G and now. Okay, so you're Zeus. You're just checking everything. You saw them, you allow them. Well, you could see that they're doing a little bit crazy down there. So you put something, activities, and allow them to do the things that they want. You need to correct them, put something. They will do it, they will learn from their mistakes, and then it's either you will go to the what part of hell that they will go, because they cannot go to Olympus, of course, that's for gods. But now they did, okay, so you did a horrible mistake, a very, very heinous one. You'll go to this part of hell. Oh, you did a good job. This beautiful part of hell that looks paradise in Catholic, in Roman Catholics. So that's a teacher. It's either, okay, I'll be giving you this task. Ching! And okay, so you did a good job here. You didn't do a good job here. To those that did a good job here, okay, I'll be promoting you to something that you will even love more. A bit of a challenge. This is for you. And now you did the terrible thing here. Let's talk and let's make a remedial instruction, remedial class here. And I think it will be a challenge for those already did a good job here. Try to make a tutoring service for this person, and less, you'll be giving less, they'll be doing more, and you'll be doing less. You'll be talking, they'll be talking a lot, and you will be listening and giving them pieces of advice, but that's not reporting. Okay, so don't get me wrong. Now, universal youth literacy ensure that all youth and substantial proportion of adults, both men and women, achieve literacy and numeracy. We've been struggling with numeracy and literacy every single time. This is very hard because literacy, we want them to learn how, we want them to know how to read and to write numbers and everything. This is not just a problem for English, math, and BE Ed subjects. This is a problem for everything because we want to ensure that our students learn how to read, how to write, and numbers as well. The basic things. So we need to ensure that we are integrating these lessons to this activity. So that's important. Education for sustainable development and global citizenship. You need to ensure all learners acquire the knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development, including, among others, through education for sustainable development and sustainable lifestyles. Now, human rights, gender equality, promoting and a culture of peace and nonviolence, global citizenship, and the appreciation of cultural diversity and culture's contribution to sustainable development. So it should be, you will be producing different citizens, and make sure that they are non-violence type of people. Though if you already see that there's a student who is very violent, you need to make sure how can we change this person. At least you did your part. And sometimes those violent people are, they just didn't get the love that they want. But sometimes these violent people, they're just violent just because they want to be violent. So, as a teacher, we need to do the preventive measures, and as much as possible, we could explain some national issues to them. But there's a big difference between imposing the national issues versus promoting a certain candidate. Okay, so magkaiba naman din kasi yun. Because if we keep on saying, oh, dito ka dapat sa candidate na to, not because of this, especially if you're government employee, dapat hindi. You could give them something in which they could think of themselves. They need to own their mistakes as well, even if voting for, well, the person that they're voting. Now, one of the means to achieve the target is to increase the supply of qualified teachers through international cooperation for teacher training in developing countries, especially the least developed countries and islands developing countries. So according to James Becker, he defined global education as an effort to help individual learners to see the world as a single and global system and to see themselves as participant in that system. Now, each learners, you will think, parang, di naman kami part nun. We're not part of that because we're still learning, we're still young, wild, and free. No, not that. That. But we're not part of it. But you know what? As a teacher, we need to let them be involved. This is the problem with some teachers. Eh. We keep on giving them stuff. All right. But we forget that the teacher and that a student also, they would like to know, what am I doing? Sometimes, I always hear this student of mine, bakit ko ginagawa to? Eh, hindi naman ako ganito. I don't need this. Di ko yan kailangan pag magbebenta ako. Isn't it? We keep on hearing those stuff with our student. And maybe some of you, you did that. Hindi mo kailangan maging ganito ah. Ganito lang naman ang gagawin ko eh. But we need to make sure that they understand what they're doing and what you're allowing them to do. Isa yun. So you need to make them involved in learning. And in this one, you need to involve them in being part of global education. Okay? So the curriculum prepares learners in an international marketplace with a worldview and international understanding. In his article, Goals of Global Education, Becker emphasized that global education incorporates into the curriculum and educational experience of each student knowledge and empathy of cultures in the nation of the world. Likewise, students are encouraged to see the world as a whole. And that's the reason why we have these activities. Parang change, marami ng changes eh. That's why our lessons in uh, our lessons in public schools and in private schools are already shift for global learning. Kaya siya ganun. Kaya nag-iiba kasi, kaya maraming, there's a lot of changes in curriculum because of this matter as well. So, learning goals. What are the learning goals? Number one is 21st century content. They need to emerge content areas such as global awareness and financial, economic, business, and entrepreneurial literacy, civic literacy, health and environment, and awareness as well. So that's the 21st century content. They also need to learn learning and thinking skills. So aside from the things that they are financially, economically, business, and entrepreneur aware, they need to know how to think. So critical thinking and problem solving skills, communication, creativity and innovation, collaboration, contextual learning information, and media literacy. So because we would like our leaders not to be, you know, our future students to learn how to think. ICT literacy is part of it because using of technology skills. Kaya hindi pwede na parang, may iba kasi, I have observed, no, not observed, but experience. I have students who know how to play ML. As in, they know how to play ML. They are very good in it. But when you ask them to do this in Microsoft Word, in PowerPoint, they don't know. And you will think, Scrum that's very different. NL is an application in their cell phone. And there's a difference between that and that. But yes, you're very true. You are correct. But we need to know how to use both. If we are playing, we also need to know how to use ice that we should also be ICT literate because that's what we'll be using for our finances. We need Word, Microsoft Word, we need Excel, PowerPoint, those, the bread and butter, education of working force, kasama yun. ICT life skills, leadership, ethics, accountability, personal responsibility, and self-direction. I have learned this self-direction. May kusang palo, no? In Filipino, we always say that sometimes we keep on looking for motivation. And I remember I have read the article or some I've heard this from a podcast, and it was said you cannot always look for motivation. You need to still do things even if you're not motivated. You cannot use that as your excuse that you're not motivated. Motivated or not, you need to do this stuff. You cannot just say, I'm sorry, I'm not motivated today. I'm so depressed. Regardless of that, we still need to do these things, even if you're not motivated. And you need to be self-directed. 21st century assessment, authentic assessment that measure the areas of learning. Now, global education focus on embracing diversity, understanding cultural differences, and teaching various cultural groups within their unique context to achieve the global education set by the United Nations. So it prepares future teachers to meet the needs of the students from remote, rural, village, in developing countries, urban slum areas, and economically advanced societies for their roles in the 21st century classroom. Global teacher education aims to prepare teachers to deliver education that transcends geographical boundaries. It seeks to provide equal opportunities for all children, regardless of their location or background. This involves blending local cultural values with global perspectives, a truly local education. All right, so please don't think. All right, so this is an example of a critical global education. So critical thinking, 21st century collaboration. So as you can see, it's this education is really, 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 really good. And one thing for sure, I made this through an AI. I posted what kind of different ICT, so everything in one classroom. A classroom must feel this. We have local, we have media literacy, information, sensory, automatic literacy, and everything in one classroom, they would feel all of this. Kind of nice, kind of busy, huh? So, but even if this one, you as the teacher are providing all of the chance, I could say you as a teacher, you'll be providing everything. I'm not saying that you will write this down and do this, but you will give an opportunity for the students to experience this matter, this kind of global village. You don't need to tell them this is what you do, this is what this. No, no, that's not what we're doing. In a global education setup, you are giving them opportunities to talk about these natural things. You could, aside from uh aside from the activities that you'll be having, you are giving them some, kumbaga, parang you are giving your students something that they could think of, they could reflect on. So those are an example. Now, for your check your understanding, we'll have draw a sad face again, copy and answer. So you'll be putting a blank before each number, okay? All right. Okay, draw a sad face on statements that tells, ay sorry, hindi pala true. Tell the happy face yan. So, Wisit. Mali. Draw a happy face on the same that tells the correct statement. Yeah. So draw a happy face. So I'll be posting this one. So I would like you to read on your own. Alright, so I hope you've already copied this one or screenshot this one. We're about to go to our next discussion. So I know it's already a lot for in one video. Hindi ko kasi sure dahil kanina pa ako nagre-retake. But that's our first half and we'll be having our second half in the next video. So stay tuned. I'll be stopping this one and stopping. Okay, so I'll be stop sharing it. All right. So, and more than describe and stop recording. All right. See you on the next video. Bye bye.